So when I first saw the title of this movie, I thought maybe it was a remake to Steven Spielberg's 1971 classic. But nope. Duel is brought to us by director Riley Stearns and stars Karen Gillan, Aaron Paul, and Theo James. A woman opts for a cloning procedure when she receives a terminal diagnosis, but when she recovers, her attempts to leave her clone decommissioned fail, leading to a court-mandated duel to the death. So Duel is an odd little quirky comedy drama. It's pretty much what the synopsis said. Karen Gillan's Sarah is diagnosed with a terminal illness, and in this very near future, if you are diagnosed with a terminal illness, you can get yourself cloned. The reason for this is so that your clone can go on living your life after you pass away for your family and friends. You have time with your clone before you die so that they can get to know all your ins and outs so they can best mimic you. And this is what Sarah does. Unfortunately for Sarah though, her clone decides to start taking over her life before she actually dies. To make matters worse, everybody in Sarah's life seems to like the cloned version of Sarah better than Sarah herself. So after some time of watching her family latch onto this clone and not really her, she finds out that, hey, what do you know, you're not actually going to die. However, enough time has passed to where the clone doesn't have to be commissioned, and now they have to duel to the death because there can't be two of them running around. I did mention it was quirky, right? So now with her whole entire life having been hijacked by this clone, Sarah goes to get combat training for her duel to the death with her clone in 1 year. Now I know that really sounds weird, and it is. But they actually do a pretty good job in the movie of normalizing as much as you can this situation. This movie is at its heart a dark comedy. Now, dark comedies aren't for everybody already, but not only is this a dark comedy, but the comedy here is extremely dry. And I don't mean like British comedy dry. I mean like really dry, like super fucking dry, like as dry as your grandmother's, you know what I mean. That dry sense of humor on top of the dark comedy aspect of the film is going to segregate it a bit. This isn't going to be for everybody. For me, myself personally, though, I did enjoy it. To a point, at least. There's some genuinely funny moments throughout this film. Of special note would be any of the interactions between Sarah and her doctor, and also Sarah and her combat trainer, played by Aaron Paul. These character interactions are some of the best parts of the film. Now, I did like the other parts of the film as well, but these parts right here, they're the ones that stood out the most to me. I found myself laughing not only at the humor in the film, but also its absurdity. This movie's really out there, but the way they're able to normalize a lot of these moments in the film in its own little quirky kind of way is funny unto itself. Now, as quirky and out there as the story is for the most part, I did find it pretty interesting. I wanted to know what was going to happen to these characters. And that was one thing that the movie did very well. I never totally knew how this was going to turn out. I had an idea and I had a way that I wanted it to go, but I was never for sure who was going to make it and who wasn't. And that brings me to a part of the film that I didn't think was so great, and that would be the end of the film. The last quarter of this film takes a hard left turn, and it just didn't do it for me. Now, to be fair, the last quarter of this film and the way that it ended does, at least I guessed, fit into the way the rest of the film is gone. It makes sense and all, and even to a degree, it's probably more believable than where I thought it was gonna go. And the message that the movie does convey with this ending is darkly ironic, which is in line with the rest of the film. And the idea of this kind of ending I did like, but in execution, it just didn't do it for me. I wanted something else out of this film. I'm not saying the movie had to end exactly like I wanted it to, but it did spend an enormous amount of time building to something, and that is just not what it gave me. I was genuinely enjoying and engaged with this film up until that last quarter, but once I got this ending, it just left me kind of limp noodle. And unfortunately, that kind of ruined a lot of what came before it. Had they been able to stick the landing a bit better, this could have ended up being one of those cult classic films and one of my favorite films of the year. As it stands though, it just kind of left me unfulfilled. We got good performances across the board, even in the parts of the film I didn't like. Everybody's suitably quirky to match the tone of the film that they're in. Gillian's the star of the film here, and she does give a very dry performance, but it fits this film. She does a good job in dual roles, however, you don't really get as much Gillian on Gillian action as you expect. But when we do get those moments of her acting against herself on screen, she does it really well and gives us two separate personalities from the same person. Are these Oscar-winning performances? No, but they do fit this film very well, and everybody does a very solid job. job. Guys, Duel was a movie that I was really enjoying until that last quarter, and they kinda screwed the pooch there. Is it an absolutely awful ending? No, but it's not the ending that I was looking for at all, and not in like one of those, oh, I wasn't looking for this kind of ending, and it surprised me kind of ways. No, in that I wasn't looking for this kind of ending, and I was looking for something totally different, and could we have please gone that way, because what you gave me just left me That was a lot of words. It's got good performances, a really interesting story, and a dry as hell sense of humor, which if you're into that kind of thing, you're gonna love. However, if you're not into that, then you're not gonna have any interest in this film, because it is dry as hell, like I said. And that ending, man, it just left you kinda With a better ending, I would have ranked this movie 1, if not even 2 grades above where I did. But as it stands, it's really only worth checking out on streaming.
Across the street.
Man, that sucks, because I really was liking this movie. But damn, right there at the end, they just totally fumbled the ball. So if you're into dark, super dry comedy, then check out like the first 3/4 of this film and just make up your own ending after that. You'll be better off and have a better experience overall. So there it is, guys, my review of Duel. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys. And possibly check out my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Silverlock and Marge G. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, nondescript European American city of the future.
I really value your friendship. I'll miss that when you die. Speaking of which, any updates?
So I noticed while I was recording, I got like this thing going on right here on my stomach, and I really wasn't sure what it was. I'm sitting here trying to figure it out, and then it dawned on me. Green screen, green Yoda. Oops, dumbass.